Welcome to the final game of round two of the college football playoffs. We have Notre Dame against Georgia in the Allstate Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana. Georgia, 1 point favorite. Over under of this game is 45. Now, I do like this game quite a bit, not quite as much as our Ohio State Oregon prediction. If you do want that one, make sure you check our most recent video. But I do like this game quite a bit. Before Notre Dame absolutely plastered Indiana in the first round, this line was set at 1.5 in favor of Georgia. Since destroying Indiana and since Carson Beck being ruled out for the rest of the season, the line has moved to just one, down half a point. It might even still be at 1.5. So, really, no change in the line, which just kind of shows you that, or shows me that I think people or Vegas or sharp bets really value Georgia's strength over Notre Dame's possible fraudulent tendencies. And I don't want to say Notre Dame's a fraud because they looked phenomenal against Indiana, but Indiana is and was a fraud. Sucked. They played two really tough games and got smoked in both of them. Not even close. Notre Dame's schedule is a little weak as well, stronger than Indiana's, and they were just a better team, and it was evident that that was the case. I do not think Notre Dame's a better team against Georgia. I think they are outmanned in pretty much every position in this game. I think Georgia, even without Carson Beck, is going to run all over Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame has a pretty good defense, but I don't think they played a run game like Georgia. I think their backup quarterback is going to do just fine in the passing game. I like Georgia quite a bit in this game. I'm taking them on the money line. Good story in Notre Dame. They really struggled in the postseason. They finally won one of their first postseason games in a long time, but I think their little road comes to an end. Also, I think it seems a little too good to be true for Notre Dame fans playing a banged up Georgia team, and then possibly playing Penn State or Boise State to make it to the national championship game. Nothing's a look ahead spot in these college football playoffs, but it's in the back of the mind of at least some Notre Dame fans. So, yeah, I like Georgia. I like Georgia quite a bit. I think they roll. Georgia money line is going to be my play. How about you?
Yeah, we are eye to eye in the college football playoff. I like Georgia quite a bit. Yeah, and it's probably going to be a 3 unit play for me. The only unfortunate thing here is it is New Year's Eve. I am going to be at a New Year's Eve party with a ton of Notre Dame fans, so I'm going to be that meme of the guy off in the corner that says they don't know I have 3 units on Georgia. Yeah, it's Georgia all day. I think, and I said it a few weeks ago. I think the cream is going to rise to the to the top um, of the college football playoff. I mean, all year it's really been Ohio State, Georgia. Um, Obviously, Oregon's been number one in the country, but as far as like the odds go, from preseason basically on, it's really been Ohio State and Georgia right up there. And I do think that's where we end up in the national championship game. Um, but yeah, I think Notre Dame is just a little bit outclassed. Like you said, looked really good against Indiana, but Indiana was not a great team. Um, Georgia, on the other hand, I mean, defensively, I just think they're going to be way too much for Notre Dame. I love that Georgia's had the time off, unlike Oregon, because Oregon is healthy and riding momentum. I think Georgia has had a lot of time with Stockton, I believe, is the quarterback stepping in for Carson Beck. Um, a lot of reps with that first team offense here. I think they're going to have a game plan ready to go that fits into his skill set. There's really no tape on him outside of the second half of the SEC championship game against Texas. So I think it's a little bit harder to prep for. And then, it's Georgia. It's like, years ago, if at Alabama, if Jalen Hurts went down, it was Tua stepping up. No one really knew Tua, but now we all do. If Tua went down, maybe Bryce Young, or they just, reload the quarterback room at these big SEC schools. So I have no doubt that this kid can play. Yeah, and I think Georgia just puts them in a really good situation. I think defensively, they're going to give Notre Dame problems. Um, yeah, I really like Georgia. I think Georgia is still one of the top two teams, if top three teams in the country here. Um, yeah, really like Georgia to roll. I think the line is telling as well. I hope Notre Dame catches some public money, but yeah, probably a 3 unit play at least for me, Georgia on the money line.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. So I'm glad we're agreeing on all four college football playoff games. One last thing I'll say about Georgia, if you are concerned about the quarterback injury, if you look at Georgia in the last 10, maybe even longer than that, they have not had one pro quarterback that actually made it. Their last pro quarterback was Matt Stafford. That is good. So that just shows you how good Georgia is without a quarterback. And I don't think Carson Beck's injury really matters to them. They are just loaded at every single position. Running backs phenomenal. Wide receivers, they're okay. Their tight ends great. Their defense is phenomenal. That's what Georgia makes a living on. We had Carson Beck, who I don't think is a great quarterback. We had Stetson Bennett, who was not a great quarterback and led them to back-to-back national championship games. We had Jake Fromm, who is, I don't even know where that guy is. Tried in the NFL, never made it, but led Georgia to greatness as well. And it just shows where, I suppose, Alabama, who recently has had better NFL quarterbacks, but their quarterbacks are NFL bound. And I think Georgia's just that good at every other position that their quarterback position doesn't really matter. So I think that's what makes them extremely dangerous. And I think what makes having their quarterback out not really a concern at all. And it's why the line hasn't moved at all. And it's why the public is still all over Indiana or Notre Dame, and it's just not changing anything because the Sharps know that this is the Georgia team where the quarterback position is not a high priority. And hats off to Kirby Smart for making his team have the identity of not needing a quarterback. I think if you can establish that in college football, you are going to be a good program for years to come because it is hard to find that one quarterback that can to bring you to the greatness. So, yeah, I love Georgia. I'm glad we're in the same boat. We do have a couple more college football bowl games before we get into the quarter or the semifinals of the college football playoff in the next couple days. So make sure you do check out our page. We do cover every single bowl game, every single playoff game, give you our preview, our bets. So make sure you do stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, and share as well over here on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Approaching 1K on the subs. That will be a huge milestone for us. But until then, guys, Happy New Year, and we'll see you shortly in the next episode.
See you guys.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top, hey. Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast, Better in Green.